How do you know if an item in Pixel Worlds is actually undervalued and not just cheap for a reason? That is one of the biggest skills you can learn if you want to profit in the Pixel World economy. Anyone can look at an item and say, this is low right now. But the real question is, does the item have a reason to go back up? Because cheap does not always mean undervalued. Sometimes cheap just means nobody wants it. Before we get into it, remember I'm doing a 3-letter word giveaway every 100 subscribers. To enter, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe, and comment your Discord username so I can contact you if you win. The first thing I look at is demand. Demand is what makes an item valuable. If players actually want the item, use the item, wear the item, craft with the item, collect the item, or flex the item, then it is real demand. But if the item just sits there and nobody talks about it, nobody buys it, and nobody searches for it, then the price being low might make sense. An undervalued item usually has demand that is stronger than the current price suggests. The second thing I check is supply. Supply means how many of that item are actually available. If an item is easy to get, constantly comes back, or everyone has it, then it will usually struggle to rise unless demand is extremely high. But if an item is limited, old, hard to get, or connected to an event that is not active anymore, that can make it more interesting. Low supply plus decent demand is where a lot of undervalued items come from. Another sign an item might be undervalued is when it has future relevance. This is huge in Pixel Worlds. Some items are boring right now, but they become useful when an event comes back, when a crafting recipe becomes popular, or when players start preparing for a certain update. If an item is connected to summer, fishing, clans, pets, mining, nether, or any event system, then you have to think ahead. The price today might not reflect what players will want later. I also look at whether the item is being ignored. Some of the best flips happen when an item is not trending yet. Once everyone is already talking about it, the easy profit is usually gone. But when an item is useful, limited, or connected to future demand, and nobody is paying attention to it yet, that is when it can be undervalued. You're basically looking for items before the crowd notices them. A good question to ask is, why would someone buy this item from me later? If you cannot answer that question, do not invest. That one question can save you from bad buys. Maybe the answer is because it looks good. Maybe it is used for crafting. Maybe it is seasonal. Maybe collectors want it. Maybe it is rare. Maybe it helps with gameplay. But there needs to be a reason. If the only reason is, I hope the price goes up, that is not a strategy. That is gambling. You also need to compare the price to similar items. If two items are from the same type of event, have similar rarity, or have similar usefulness, but one is way cheaper for no clear reason, that cheaper item might be undervalued. But you have to be careful. Sometimes one item is cheaper because it looks worse, has more supply, or nobody actually wants it. So comparison helps, but you still need to think about demand. Another thing I watch is price movement. If an item has been slowly rising over time, that could be a sign that players are quietly buying it. But if an item dropped hard and keeps dropping, be careful. Not every dip is a buying opportunity. Sometimes an item is dropping because players lost interest, supply increased, or was overhyped before. The best undervalued items usually have a reason to recover, not just a low price. You should also pay attention to how fast items sell. This matters more than people think. An item can be worth a lot on paper, but if nobody buys it, you are stuck. A truly undervalued item should have some kind of liquidity. That means there are buyers, trades, or at least interest. If you buy an item and cannot sell for weeks, then even if the price is technically higher, it might not be a good flip. One of the biggest mistakes players make is buying items only because someone said they are rare. Rare does not automatically mean valuable. There are rare items that nobody cares about. Value comes from rarity plus demand. If an item is rare and people actually want it, then it can be strong. But if it is rare and unwanted, it might stay cheap forever. Another mistake is chasing manipulated items too late. In Pixel Worlds, some items can get pushed up by players buying them out or hyping them up. When that happens, newer players see the price rising and think they found an undervalued item. But by the time the hype is obvious, the item might already be overpriced. You want to be early, not late. If the price already exploded and everyone is talking about it, be careful. So, here's the simple formula I would use. An item might be undervalued if it has real demand, limited supply, future use, low attention, and a price that seems too low compared to similar items. But if it has no demand, too much supply, no future purpose, and only hype behind it, then it is probably not undervalued. It is just risky. For beginners, I would start small. Do not spend everything on one item just because you think it might rise. Test the market first. Buy one or two. See if people are interested. Watch how fast it sells. Learn the pattern before you go all in. The best traders in pixel worlds are not the ones who randomly gamble big. They're the ones who understand why an item should be worth more later. At the end of the day, knowing if an item is undervalued comes down to thinking ahead. You're not just looking at the price right now.